in regards to beating any sort of existing copy that there is that either you wrote or somebody else wrote, just like what do you how do you go about just looking at the weaknesses in what I guess entry angles? Do you look at maybe coming in with a big idea or the offer or the structure? Like, is there like a certain go-to list that you have, like that you look for?
Well, it's a good question, and it applies to any kind of copy, right? Where you look at what competitors are doing or whatever, right? Or your existing controls.
Yes.
And you want to be, you're right to think you need to be strategic about it, right? So
Right.
you look at the control and you say, what are not just the weaknesses, but what are the strengths? What does it do well, right? It's got a lot of proof in it. It really does proof well. So I'm probably not going to beat him on proof, right? But I better have a lot of good proof. But he doesn't maybe give away a lot of good information. So I'm going to have proof and I'm going to give away a lot of good information. Or my offer is going to be better, right? I'm going to see where is he weak, right? Either copy-wise, offer-wise, idea-wise. Because, you're right. That's when the control is your enemy. You want to stalk him, know his strengths and weaknesses, and kill it.
Yeah.
What assumptions is the control making, right? The control says, get rich with, whatever. And the control is making the assumption that what people really want is to get rich, right? Maybe it's not. Maybe they just want to prove to their spouse that they could be successful. So if I'm going to beat that control, then maybe I go, okay, I'm going to go one better. I'm going to be like, honey, I'm finally making good money, right? That's what I said to my wife the other day. She had been saying, why are you spending all these money on courses and things? And now I'm making really good money. And, she loves me and I, everything is great. And, so that's kind of a strategic way of looking at something like that too. The more you can touch on what people really want in life, right? Like, someone's advertising a course and they're like, learn a language, quickly. And so it touches on the need to learn a language, but it doesn't really touch on people's deep emotional, need for learning a language, for connectivity, or, just for accomplishing something. So you might do a little more of they laughed when I sat down at the piano, right? They laughed when the waiter spoke to me in French, but when I replied in fluent French, right? So then we get the guy, he's looking good on his date. There's a whole other level of accomplishment there.